Pickup trucks are known for their toughness, utility, and rugged appeal. But not all pickups are created equal. Some were so poorly designed, underpowered, or just plain ridiculous that they earned a special spot in the Hall of Shame. Today, we're looking at the stupidest pickups of all time, the ones so cheap and poorly made, they were all that budget buyers could afford. From questionable engineering to features that made no sense, these trucks are proof that you get what you pay for. Ready to see the pickups that make you thankful for modern engineering? Let's get started. The 1959 Ford Ranchero occupies a unique niche in automotive history as part of the burgeoning car truck segment. Designed to bridge the gap between a passenger car and a pickup truck, the Ranchero aimed to provide buyers with a vehicle that could function as a workhorse while maintaining the comfort and style of a car. While this concept was novel and had its fans, the 1959 Ranchero ultimately fell short in several key areas, leaving it better remembered as an intriguing experiment rather than a practical success. One of the primary issues with the 1959 Ford Ranchero was its inability to handle heavy loads effectively. Built on the same platform as the Ford Fairlane, the Ranchero inherited much of its DNA from a passenger car, including a relatively soft suspension and limited structural rigidity. While this setup made the Ranchero more comfortable to drive than a traditional pickup, it significantly hampered its capability as a utility vehicle. Buyers looking for a truck to haul heavy loads or tackle demanding tasks quickly discovered that the Ranchero was not up to the challenge. The payload capacity was modest at best, and attempting to push it beyond its limits often led to sagging suspension components and a compromised driving experience. The Ranchero's car-based construction also contributed to its lack of durability. Unlike purpose-built trucks that were designed to withstand the rigors of hard work, the Ranchero's unibody design and lighter-duty components made it fragile in comparison. Overloading or driving on rough terrain could cause undue stress on the chassis, leading to premature wear and tear. For those who needed a dependable work vehicle, these shortcomings were hard to overlook, especially when compared to the rugged body-on-frame construction of traditional pickups from Ford's O and F series lineup or competitors like Chevrolet. Another challenge the 1959 Ford Ranchero faced was its positioning in the market. While the idea of a stylish car-like truck had some appeal, it created a dilemma for potential buyers. Farmers, tradespeople, and other utility-oriented consumers often prioritize function over form, making the Ranchero's car-like attributes less of a selling point and more of a tight viability. Conversely, those who were drawn to the Ranchero for its styling and comfort were often disappointed by its lack of refinement compared to a full-fledged car. This identity crisis left the Ranchero in a precarious position, unable to fully satisfy the needs of either audience. The styling of the 1959 Ranchero, while eye-catching, also contributed to its shortcomings. Featuring the bold, chrome-heavy design language of the era, the Ranchero certainly looked the part of a fashionable vehicle. However, this emphasis on aesthetics came at the expense of practicality. The high belt line and low rear bed walls, while visually striking, limited the Ranchero's cargo capacity and made it less user-friendly for loading and unloading. The design was more about making a statement than delivering functionality, which undermined its utility as a truck. The Ranchero's engine options also failed to impress. While Ford offered a range of power plants, from modest inline sixes to larger V8s, none of them could fully compensate for the Ranchero's other deficiencies. Even the more powerful engine struggled when the Ranchero was tasked with hauling loads near its payload capacity. Additionally, the fuel economy was not particularly impressive, especially when compared to compact trucks or sedans of the era. This lack of efficiency further diminished the Ranchero's appeal, particularly as buyers became more conscious of operating costs. Moreover, the Ranchero's soft suspension, borrowed from its passenger car roots, made it ill-suited for the uneven roads and rough conditions that many trucks were expected to handle. While the smooth ride was a benefit on paved roads, it became a liability when the Ranchero was taken off the beaten path. The lack of ground clearance and the limited articulation of its suspension system made the Ranchero poorly equipped for rural or rugged environments, further limiting its utility. Despite these flaws, the Ranchero did have its moments of appeal. Its combination of car-like comfort and truck-like versatility was a compelling concept that resonated with some buyers, particularly those who lived in suburban areas and didn't require a heavy-duty work truck. The Ranchero also helped pioneer a segment that would later inspire similar vehicles, like the Chevrolet El Camino, proving that the car-truck hybrid idea had merit. However, the execution of the 1959 Ranchero left much to be desired, and it struggled to gain traction in a market dominated by more capable and practical options. In the end, the 1959 Ford Ranchero was a product of its time, attempting to carve out a new niche in a rapidly evolving automotive landscape. The 1971 Chevrolet Vega Panel Express is often remembered as one of the most puzzling attempts by General Motors to diversify the Vega lineup, a car that itself was plagued with a host of problems. Billed as a compact, car-based commercial vehicle, the Vega Panel Express was essentially a two-door Vega wagon, with the rear side windows replaced by solid panels, aimed at small business owners or tradespeople in need of a light-duty delivery vehicle. Unfortunately, the execution left much to be desired, and the vehicle's many flaws quickly overshadowed its intended purpose. One of the Vega Panel Express's most glaring issues was its underpowered engine. Powered by a 2.3-liter inline-4, the Vega's engine was made of aluminum with an iron cylinder head. While innovative on paper, this engine design turned out to be one of the car's most notorious weaknesses. The engine was prone to overheating, warping, and even catastrophic failure due to poor materials and subpar engineering. At its best, the Vega's power output was just enough to get the lightweight car moving with a load in its small cargo area. At its worst, the engine became a ticking time bomb for anyone hoping to use it for frequent or heavy-duty hauling. Compounding the Vega Panel Express's mechanical woes was its notorious rust problem. General Motors rushed the Vega's production to compete with Japanese imports, but this haste led to significant quality control issues. The car's body panels were thin and poorly treated, leaving the Panel Express, in all Vegas, highly susceptible to rust. It wasn't uncommon for a Vega to start showing rust spots within just a couple of years, even in regions with mild weather. For a vehicle marketed as a practical work vehicle, this lack of durability was an especially glaring flaw, as tradespeople and small businesses needed reliability above all else. The Vega Panel Express also suffered from a fundamental identity crisis. The concept of a car-based commercial vehicle was not inherently flawed, as proven by vehicles like the Ford Courier or even earlier panel vans. However, the Vega was too small, too fragile, and too poorly executed to meet the needs of its target audience. The cargo area, while partially functional, was far too limited in size and payload capacity to handle anything beyond the lightest of deliveries. The suspension derived from the Vega's passenger car roots was too soft for carrying heavy loads, and the car's low ground clearance made it unsuitable for anything other than well-paved city streets. Ergonomics and practicality were also lacking. The cargo area, while easily accessible, was not well designed for efficient use of space. The solid rear panels that replaced the side windows added to the vehicle's commercial aesthetic, but offered no practical advantage. Visibility was significantly reduced compared to the regular Vega wagon, making maneuvering and parking a challenge. For business owners, these flaws added up to a vehicle that looked the part of a commercial workhorse, but failed to deliver in any meaningful way. Styling, while subjective, didn't help the Vega Panel Express either. By the early 1970s, the clean lines and minimalistic approach of the Vega had started to look dated compared to its competitors, especially imports from Japan, that were rapidly gaining popularity in the United States. The Panel Express's solid panels and utilitarian look only emphasized the awkward proportions of the car, giving it an uninspired appearance that failed to capture the attention of buyers. Perhaps the final nail in the Vega Panel Express's coffin was its association with the Vega's overall reputation. By the time the Panel Express hit the market, the Vega had already gained notoriety for its poor reliability, rust issues, and disappointing build quality. The Panel Express inherited all these flaws, and its additional niche appeal made it even less attractive to potential buyers. Small business owners, tradespeople, and delivery drivers who prioritize reliability and practicality quickly learned to look elsewhere, often turning to Japanese vehicles or more robust American options. In hindsight, the 1971 Chevrolet Vega Panel Express represents a cautionary tale of cutting corners in automotive design and manufacturing. General Motors' rush to produce a vehicle that could compete with imports led to a cascade of problems that undermined not just the Vega, but all its variants, including the Panel Express. While the idea of a small, car-based delivery vehicle had merit, the execution failed on almost every front. What could have been a practical, efficient, and innovative option for businesses became a symbol of missed opportunities and poor decision-making. Today, the Vega Panel Express is a rare sight, with most examples having succumbed to rust or mechanical failure long ago. For enthusiasts, it exists as a curiosity, a reminder of an era when American finds. The 1982 Dodge Rampage is remembered as an ambitious but flawed attempt to tap into the niche market of car-based pickups. With its compact size and unibody construction, the Rampage seemed like a modern take on the idea of combining car-like comfort with the utility of a truck. However, its shortcomings in power, durability, and practicality ultimately made it more of a curiosity than a serious competitor in the small truck market. At its core, the Rampage was built on Chrysler's L-body platform, shared with compact cars like the Dodge Omni and Plymouth Horizon. This passenger car lineage gave the Rampage good road manners and a smoother ride compared to traditional body-on-frame trucks. It also allowed for a lower step-in height and better fuel economy, which were appealing to buyers looking for an economical, light-duty vehicle. However, these advantages came at a cost. The unibody construction, while lighter and more car-like, was far less rugged than traditional truck frames. As a result, the Rampage was ill-suited for heavy hauling or off-road use, making it a poor choice for those who needed a real workhorse. The Rampage's weak powertrain further hampered its capabilities. At launch, it came with a 2.2-liter inline-4 engine producing just 84 horsepower and 111 lb of torque. While adequate for a compact car, this engine struggled when tasked with carrying or towing heavy loads. The Rampage's payload capacity was limited to around 1,145 pounds, similar to that of a small truck, but the engine's modest output made even that modest figure a challenge. Acceleration was sluggish, and the Rampage's performance suffered noticeably under load, which didn't inspire confidence among buyers who wanted a vehicle that could handle occasional work duties. Styling was another point of contention. The Rampage's design borrowed heavily from its passenger car siblings, resulting in a front end that looked almost identical to the Omni and Horizon. While the rear bed gave it a distinct profile, the overall aesthetic lacked the rugged appeal typically associated with pickups. Instead, it appeared more like a quirky compact car with a bed grafted onto the back. For buyers seeking a vehicle that projected toughness or utility, the Rampage's styling fell short of expectations. Durability was another Achilles heel for the Rampage. The unibody construction was prone to flexing under heavy loads, which could lead to structural fatigue over time. Additionally, the light-duty suspension, borrowed from its car-based platform, wasn't designed to handle the stresses of consistent hauling or rough terrain. This fragility meant the Rampage was best suited for urban or suburban environments where it might be used for light errands or recreational activities. However, even in those scenarios, buyers often found more practical alternatives in compact trucks like the Ford Ranger or Toyota pickup, which offered better reliability and versatility. The Rampage also suffered from a lack of market identity. By the early 1980s, the small truck market in the United States was booming, with offerings from Ford, Chevrolet, and Japanese manufacturers capturing the attention of buyers. These trucks, while not as car-like as the Rampage, offered superior durability, off-road capability, and towing capacity. The Rampage's car-based approach left it stuck in a gray area, too weak to compete with real trucks and too niche to attract mainstream car buyers. Dodge attempted to market the Rampage as a sporty and practical vehicle, but its limited appeal meant it struggled to find a dedicated audience. Despite its flaws, the Rampage wasn't entirely without merit. Its compact size and efficient engine made it more maneuverable and economical than most trucks of the era. For buyers who didn't need serious hauling capability, it could serve as a stylish and fuel-efficient alternative to larger pickups. Additionally, The Rampage's car-like driving dynamics made it more comfortable on long trips or in daily commuting scenarios, where traditional trucks often felt rough and unwieldy. Ultimately, the Dodge Rampage was a vehicle that tried to be too many things at once and succeeded at none of them. It was neither a capable truck nor a compelling car, and its compromises alienated both truck enthusiasts and car buyers. While it found a small but loyal fan base, the Rampage couldn't overcome its fundamental shortcomings and was discontinued after the 1984 model year. Today, it remains an oddity in automotive history, remembered more for its unique concept than for its success in the market. For Dodge, the Rampage was a lesson in the risks of innovation and the importance of understanding what buyers truly want in a vehicle. The 1964 Jeep Gladiator J-Series was a bold and ambitious entry into the growing pickup truck market, showcasing Jeep's desire to expand beyond its reputation for rugged military and off-road vehicles into a broader consumer market. Introduced by Kaiser Jeep, the Gladiator promised to combine the toughness and versatility associated with the Jeep brand with the utility and practicality expected of a full-size pickup. However, despite its forward-thinking features and distinctive design, the Gladiator struggled to deliver on its promise. Its blend of outdated technology, mechanical shortcomings, and polarizing aesthetics left it overshadowed by competitors and remembered as a vehicle that couldn't quite live up to its potential. At its core, the Gladiator J-Series had a lot to offer, at least on paper. Built on the same platform as the Jeep Wagoneer, it brought a level of innovation that was rare among pickup trucks of the era. For one, the Gladiator was available with four-wheel drive as either a standard or optional feature, a capability that made it appealing to buyers who needed a truck for off-road or heavy-duty use. It also featured an independent front suspension on some models, which was intended to improve ride quality, an early nod toward the more refined, comfortable trucks that would dominate the market in later decades. The Gladiator came in various configurations, including long and short wheelbases, multiple bed lengths, and even chassis cab setups, allowing buyers to tailor the truck to their needs. This kind of flexibility was ahead of its time and hinted at the potential for a vehicle that could serve multiple purposes. Unfortunately, this innovation was often undercut by glaring flaws in execution. One of the most significant issues was the Gladiator's mechanical reliability, or lack thereof. Many models were equipped with the Tornado 230 cubic inch inline-six engine, which was an advanced overhead cam designed for its time. While the Tornado was lauded for its fuel efficiency and power output relative to displacement, it was also plagued with maintenance issues. The engine was prone to oil leaks, excessive wear, and inconsistent performance under heavy loads. These problems were exacerbated by limited support from mechanics who were unfamiliar with the Tornado's relatively complex design. Buyers seeking reliability were often disappointed, especially when compared to the simpler and sturdier engines offered by Ford, Chevrolet, and Dodge. For those who opted for the V8 engines, there was no reprieve from disappointment. While they provided more power than the inline-six, they came at the cost of poor fuel efficiency and occasional durability issues. Additionally, the Gladiator's drivetrain was often criticized for being noisy and prone to failure under stress, further detracting from its appeal as a work truck. When paired with outdated features like drum brakes, which were already becoming obsolete, the Gladiator's performance and safety record fell short of expectations. The styling of the Gladiator was another point of contention. Jeep trucks had always been known for their rugged, utilitarian designs, and the Gladiator represented a departure from that tradition. With its bold grille, clean lines, and a more car-like appearance, it was an attempt to bring a modern aesthetic to the pickup truck market. While some buyers appreciated the distinctive look, others found it off-putting or overly quirky. In an era when buyers associated trucks with no-nonsense practicality, the Gladiator's design seemed to lack the toughness and simplicity of its competitors. This polarizing styling failed to attract a broad audience and limited its appeal to a niche group of buyers. Another significant drawback of the Gladiator J-Series was its on-road performance. Despite the independent front suspension on some models, the truck's ride quality was far from comfortable. The steering was vague, the suspension felt overly stiff, and the vehicle's weight distribution, thanks to its cab-over-engine design, could make handling unpredictable. These shortcomings made the Gladiator less appealing as an everyday driver, particularly when compared to trucks from Ford and Chevrolet, which offered a better balance of comfort, utility, and reliability. Compounding these issues was the Gladiator's price. While not exorbitantly expensive, it was priced on par with or slightly higher than competing models that offered more dependability and refinement. Buyers who might have been interested in the Gladiator's unique features or off-road capabilities were often deterred by its mechanical flaws and lack of dealer support. For a vehicle that promised to do it all, the Gladiator often fell short of expectations, leaving many buyers feeling like they had paid a premium for a product that didn't deliver. Despite its struggles in the marketplace, the 1964 Jeep Gladiator J-Series was not without its redeeming qualities. The 1947 Crosley pickup was a fascinating yet deeply flawed chapter in the history of American automotive engineering. Produced by Crosley Motors, a company famous for its compact cars and unconventional designs, this tiny microtruck aimed to carve out a unique niche in the post-World War II market. While its affordability and diminutive size might have appealed to some buyers looking for an economical utility vehicle, the Crosley pickup's severe limitations in power, payload capacity, and durability made it impractical for nearly any meaningful application. Despite its intriguing concept, the truck failed to meet the expectations of a recovering nation eager for robust and versatile vehicles to support their livelihoods and lifestyles. At just over 10 feet long and weighing less than 1,200 pounds, the Crosley pickup was one of the smallest trucks ever produced in America. Its design was rudimentary, with a stark utilitarian aesthetic that prioritized simplicity over sophistication. With a flat, featureless front end, a narrow cab, and a small cargo bed, the Crosley pickup was a stark departure from the larger, more capable trucks produced by Ford, Chevrolet, and Dodge at the time. Its minimalist construction and modest proportions gave it a toy-like appearance, which was both its charm and its downfall. The Crosley pickup was powered by a 724cc, 44 cubic inch, inline-4 engine, delivering a mere 26 horsepower. This engine, initially developed for military applications during World War II, was compact and lightweight, featuring an innovative overhead camshaft design. While its engineering was ahead of its time, the engine's output was woefully inadequate for a pickup truck, even one as small as the Crosley. With its modest power, the truck struggled to reach a top speed of 50 miles per hour, making it unsuitable for highway use and ill-suited for hauling even light loads. This lack of performance severely limited the Crosley pickup's appeal, particularly in a market where consumers valued power and capability. The cargo bed of the Crosley pickup was equally diminutive, capable of carrying only a few hundred pounds. This tiny payload capacity rendered the truck impractical for farmers, tradespeople, or small business owners who needed a reliable work vehicle. For these buyers, the Crosley's low price tag simply couldn't compensate for its inability to perform basic tasks. In comparison, used full-size trucks from established manufacturers offered significantly greater utility and durability for a similar investment, further diminishing the Crosley pickup's competitiveness. Durability was another area where the Crosley pickup fell short. The lightweight construction that contributed to its fuel efficiency also made the vehicle fragile and prone to damage. Thin sheet metal and a Spartan frame design left the truck ill-equipped to handle the rigors of daily use, let alone the rough conditions often faced by work vehicles. The suspension system, while adequate for a lightweight passenger car, was unable to provide a comfortable or stable ride when subjected to uneven terrain or heavy loads. Buyers seeking a tough, reliable truck quickly realized that the Crosley pickup was not up to the challenge. Adding to its woes, the Crosley pickup was plagued by a harsh, uncomfortable ride, with the narrow cab offering limited space for the driver and passenger. The interior was as basic as the exterior, with few amenities and little attention to creature comforts. While these compromises might have been acceptable in a larger, more capable truck, they only highlighted the Crosley's shortcomings and reinforced its reputation as a vehicle that prioritized cost savings over functionality. Despite its numerous flaws, the Crosley pickup was not without its merits. Its compact size and exceptional fuel efficiency made it an economical choice for buyers with minimal transportation needs. In urban environments where parking space was at a premium and hauling requirements were modest, The Crosley pickup's small footprint and low operating costs were assets. Additionally, its quirky design and underdog status have earned it a place in the hearts of collectors and enthusiasts who view the truck as a symbol of post-war ingenuity and a testament to Crosley Motors' willingness to take risks. The Crosley pickup's failure to achieve widespread success is a reflection of its inability to align with the needs of the American market at the time. Post-war consumers were seeking vehicles that could support the demands of a growing economy, whether through agricultural work, industrial applications, or family transportation. The Crosley pickup's limited capabilities and lack of versatility made it ill-suited to these roles, and its novelty appeal was not enough to sustain it in a competitive market. Today, the 1947 Crosley pickup is remembered as a curious footnote in the history of American trucks. The 1981 Volkswagen Rabbit pickup, also known as the Caddy in other markets, was an ambitious attempt by Volkswagen to bring a European-styled compact utility vehicle to the American market. Based on the Volkswagen Rabbit, or Golf, as it was known elsewhere, this car-based pickup featured the same front-wheel drive layout, compact dimensions, and fuel-efficient engines as its hatchback sibling. While it had its quirks and charms, it ultimately failed to resonate with American truck buyers, who were accustomed to larger, more capable vehicles. Its small size, limited power, and unconventional design made it an oddity in a market dominated by domestic pickups designed for rugged utility and heavy-duty tasks. The Rabbit pickup was powered by a range of engines, including a modest 1.6-liter inline-4 gasoline engine, or a diesel option producing a mere 52 horsepower. While these engines were economical and well-suited for the Rabbit hatchback, they were laughably underpowered for a pickup, even one as small as the Rabbit pickup. Acceleration was sluggish, especially when the bed was loaded, and towing capacity was nearly non-existent. This lack of power immediately put the Rabbit pickup at a disadvantage compared to its American competitors, which offered larger engines with significantly more torque and hauling capability. Its compact size was another issue. At just over 14 feet in length and with a payload capacity of around 1,100 pounds, the Rabbit pickup was more suitable for hauling groceries or gardening supplies than construction materials or heavy equipment. The cargo bed, while useful for small tasks, was too shallow and narrow to accommodate the kinds of loads typical American truck buyers expected to carry. For contractors, farmers, and other work-oriented users, the Rabbit pickup was simply not up to the task. The Rabbit pickup also suffered from its car-like construction. Its unibody design, derived from the Rabbit hatchback, was lighter and more fuel-efficient than the traditional body-on-frame construction of most trucks. However, this came at the cost of durability and ruggedness. The suspension, while fine for a compact car, struggled under heavy loads, and the overall build quality left it prone to wear and tear when used as a work vehicle. Traditional truck buyers, accustomed to the toughness of Ford F-Series, Chevrolet CK trucks, and Dodge pickups, found the Rabbit pickup to be too delicate for their needs. Styling was another point of contention. While the Rabbit pickup shared the clean, minimalist lines of the Rabbit hatchback, its European aesthetic didn't align with the preferences of traditional American truck buyers. The design was considered too plain and unassuming compared to the bold, muscular looks of its domestic rivals. Furthermore, the single-cab configuration limited its appeal, as buyers increasingly sought vehicles with more interior space for passengers and storage. Despite its shortcomings, the Rabbit pickup did have a few redeeming qualities. Its front-wheel drive layout and small size made it surprisingly agile and easy to maneuver, especially in urban environments where larger trucks could be cumbersome. It was also incredibly fuel-efficient, particularly the diesel variant, which could achieve mileage figures that put most trucks and even many cars of the era to shame. For budget-conscious buyers who needed a small utility vehicle for light-duty tasks, the Rabbit pickup offered an economical alternative. Volkswagen's gamble with the Rabbit pickup ultimately didn't pay off in the American market. Buyers looking for a truck wanted more power, space, and ruggedness than the Rabbit pickup could offer. It was a vehicle that seemed out of place, designed with European sensibilities that clashed with the demands of American truck culture. While it found a niche among enthusiasts and remains a quirky collector's item today, it failed to achieve the mainstream success Volkswagen had hoped for. In retrospect, The 1981 Volkswagen Rabbit pickup serves as an interesting case study in how cultural and market differences can shape the success or failure of a vehicle. Its blend of compact efficiency and quirky charm appealed to a small subset of buyers, but alienated the larger audience it was intended to attract. It's a reminder that even innovative ideas can falter when they don't align with the needs and expectations of their target audience. Today, the Rabbit pickup is appreciated more for its novelty and historical significance than for its practical utility, standing as a testament to Volkswagen's willingness to take risks, even when those risks didn't quite pay off. The 1970 Datsun 520 pickup, part of Datsun's early foray into the compact truck market, was designed as an affordable alternative for those who needed a small and economical vehicle. While the Datsun 520 made a splash with its low price point and modest footprint, it ultimately failed to meet the expectations of most truck buyers in terms of performance, utility, and safety. One of the primary issues with the 1970 Datsun 520 was its sheer simplicity. Designed as a no-frills work truck, the 520 offered very little in the way of features. Its cabin was cramped, providing minimal space for both the driver and passengers. The interior was utilitarian at best, with a sparse dashboard, hard plastic materials, and a rudimentary design that made long drives uncomfortable. When compared to competing trucks from American manufacturers, the Datsun 520 was notably lacking in interior comfort and refinement, which turned off many potential buyers looking for a more pleasant driving experience. Under the hood, the Datsun 520 was powered by a small 1.3-liter four-cylinder engine that generated just 79 horsepower. While this engine was adequate for light commuting or driving around town, it struggled to handle the demands of even moderate hauling. The 520's tiny engine was ill-suited for the tasks most truck buyers expected from their vehicles, such as carrying heavier loads or towing. The lack of power made it impractical for those who needed a vehicle that could handle more demanding work. Even with its relatively low weight, the truck's performance was sluggish, and when loaded down, the engine's lack of power became even more apparent. The Datsun 520's small engine also meant it was underwhelming in terms of acceleration. On the highway, it struggled to maintain higher speeds, and merging onto faster lanes could be a nerve-wracking experience for drivers. This lack of power made the truck feel more like a commuter car than a capable utility vehicle. Safety was another area where the 1970 Datsun 520 fell short. As with many vehicles from the era, the safety features were minimal at best. There were no airbags, no anti-lock brakes, and very limited crash protection. The truck's small size and lack of substantial crumple zones meant that, in the event of an accident, it would offer little protection to its occupants. The cabin's cramped nature added to the sense of discomfort and lack of safety, as the limited space made it difficult for passengers to brace themselves in the event of a collision. Modern safety features that we now take for granted, like seatbelt reminders or side impact protection, were non-existent in the 520. The Datsun 520's suspension was also geared toward a basic, everyday driving experience, rather than providing the strength and reliability needed for heavy-duty tasks. While it may have been fine for light loads and smooth roads, the suspension system was not built to withstand the abuse often encountered in work trucks. This resulted in a bumpy ride when driving with a load, as the suspension would struggle to keep up with the added weight. Beyond these issues, the Datsun 520's overall design was fairly basic and somewhat uninspired. While its styling was simple and functional, it lacked the ruggedness and boldness expected from a pickup. The truck's exterior was plain, with no distinctive features or design elements that set it apart from other trucks on the market. It did not have the utility or appearance that would attract truck enthusiasts, and for those who valued aesthetics alongside performance, the 520 simply couldn't compete with more attractive and capable vehicles. While the 1970 Datsun 520 was affordable and provided a budget-friendly option for buyers who didn't need much from their truck, it was severely limited by its small engine, basic interior, and lack of safety features. It was far less versatile than its competitors, particularly those from American and even some European manufacturers, which offered more powerful engines, better features, and a more comfortable ride. In the end, the Datsun 520 pickup did serve a niche market, particularly among those looking for a cheap, no-frills truck for light-duty tasks. However, it failed to deliver the kind of performance, utility, and comfort that most buyers expect from a pickup, especially in the competitive truck market of the 1970s. While it's remembered today as a classic example of the compact pickups from that era, its shortcomings, particularly in terms of power, safety, and practicality, prevent it from being viewed as anything more than a novelty. The 1960 Studebaker Champ was a pickup truck that found itself out of sync with its time. Introduced by Studebaker as a competitor in the growing American pickup market, it quickly became apparent that the Champ was struggling to meet the expectations of buyers in the 1960s. Its outdated design, mechanical issues, and overall lack of refinement left it feeling like a relic from an earlier era, even when it was still new. One of the biggest shortcomings of the 1960 Studebaker Champ was its cab design. Unlike the more modern and stylish designs seen in trucks from Ford, Chevrolet, and Dodge during the time, the Champ's cab felt stuck in the 1950s. The truck's exterior styling was boxy and plain, with no distinctive features to make it stand out. Inside, the cabin was cramped and minimalistic. The dashboard and interior elements were basic at best, offering no modern conveniences or comfort. The lack of space, poor ergonomics, and outdated materials made the driving experience less enjoyable than it should have been, especially for buyers who were looking for a more comfortable ride in a pickup truck. Reliability was another major issue for the Champ. Like many trucks from Studebaker during this period, the Champ suffered from mechanical problems that led to frequent repairs. It wasn't uncommon for owners to experience engine or transmission issues that hurt the truck's performance and overall reliability. The Champ's mechanical systems were not as refined as those found in its competitors, and this only added to the frustration for budget-conscious buyers who were hoping for a dependable, low-maintenance vehicle. The truck's performance was also underwhelming, with a small engine lineup, including a 6-cylinder option that lacked the power expected of a full-size pickup. The Champ struggled to carry heavy loads or tow anything substantial. Its ride was rough, and it didn't have the capability to compete with other trucks that offered better suspension systems and a smoother, more capable ride when loaded. While the Champ was designed to be a work vehicle, it didn't live up to the expectations of those who needed a reliable truck for day-to-day tasks. The 1960 Studebaker Champ's lack of refinement and outdated design also made it an unattractive option compared to the competition. Ford's F-Series trucks were getting more modern, and Chevrolet's CK Series was being continually updated with better features and more powerful engines. Meanwhile, the Champ was stuck in the past, offering little in terms of innovation or progress. For those looking for a pickup that combined both utility and modern features, the Champ simply didn't measure up. When it came to hauling and towing, the Champ was less capable than other trucks in its class. The small engines and lack of power made it ill-suited for anything more than light-duty work. It struggled under heavier loads, and the suspension system wasn't built to handle the weight of serious cargo, which meant that owners often found the ride to be uncomfortable and bumpy when the truck was loaded up. The Studebaker Champ's reputation for reliability was another major factor that hurt its long-term success. Many buyers turned away from the Champ after experiencing issues with the truck's durability, and the truck never gained the kind of loyal customer base that some of its competitors, like Ford and Chevrolet, enjoyed. While the Champ had a unique, quirky charm, it was often seen as a second-rate option, and as a result, it didn't capture much of the market. Studebaker itself was also struggling during this period, and its inability to update its models and provide solid, reliable products meant that the company was on the decline. The 1960 Studebaker Champ, as part of that decline, failed to make a lasting impression and was ultimately discontinued by 1964. While it remains a curious footnote in the history of American pickups, its lack of refinement, mechanical issues, and outdated design kept it from ever becoming a serious contender against the more popular brands. In conclusion, the 1960 Studebaker Champ was a truck that felt out of place in the rapidly changing automotive landscape of the early 1960s. Its outdated design, poor reliability, and lack of refinement made it a poor choice for those looking for a modern, dependable pickup. While it may have had some unique features and styling that appealed to certain buyers, the Champ was ultimately an underperforming and short-lived entry in the American pickup market. The 1955 International R110 pickup, despite being affordable and targeted at farmers and small businesses, was one of those vehicles that seemed to miss the mark in multiple areas. While it offered a low entry price that appealed to those on a budget, particularly in rural settings, it suffered from significant drawbacks that made it a less than ideal choice for those who needed a reliable workhorse. The first major issue with the R110 was its lack of power. The engine choices were limited, and the R110 was equipped with an underwhelming six-cylinder engine that struggled to provide sufficient horsepower for the vehicle's size. With a top speed that didn't make it the quickest pickup on the road and acceleration that could barely keep up with traffic, the R110 felt sluggish and inefficient. For buyers who needed a truck that could handle heavy hauling or towing, this lack of power quickly became a problem. The truck's design was another major detractor. While functional and simple, it was awkward and utilitarian, lacking the refinement that other brands brought to their trucks. The R110 had a boxy, no-frills look that, while rugged and durable, felt antiquated compared to more stylish or modern competitors like the Chevrolet Task Force or Ford's F-Series trucks. The design wasn't designed to win any beauty contests, and the body style was straightforward and unpolished, giving the truck a work-only feel. For farmers and rural buyers who were more concerned with functionality than aesthetics, this wasn't necessarily an issue. However, the lack of any stylish design did make the R110 seem even more of a utilitarian tool than a truck that could double for personal use as well. Inside, the R110 also suffered from limited comfort and convenience. The cabin was basic, with minimal attention to driver or passenger comfort. The seats were simple and uncomfortable, the interior materials were plain, and there was little in the way of modern features that could make long drives more pleasant. For those who use their trucks for daily driving or long hauls, the lack of comfort would become apparent quickly. For example, the suspension was firm and didn't offer a particularly smooth ride, and the overall driving experience was more about function than comfort. On the road, the truck's handling left much to be desired. The low power and basic suspension system made it difficult to drive with any sort of ease, especially when loaded with cargo. The R110's performance in any situation other than simple local deliveries or light farming tasks was disappointing. It had difficulty climbing steep grades and couldn't keep up with modern trucks on highways, making it a less than ideal choice for anyone looking for a versatile, all-purpose vehicle. Despite its utilitarian nature, the R110 struggled to balance the need for power with the demands of modern performance standards. While it was a step up from older, slower farm trucks, it wasn't enough to compete with the more well-equipped trucks available at the time. And although the low price tag may have been appealing to farmers and small businesses, the truck ultimately lacked the durability and long-term reliability that would justify its purchase for anyone who required a serious work vehicle. Another issue was the truck's poor handling and stability, especially when carrying heavier loads. The suspension and chassis were not built for serious, heavy-duty hauling, which could make driving the R110 a challenge when loaded. It also struggled with overall durability when pushed to its limits, meaning it required more frequent maintenance and repairs than many competitors, especially considering the rugged nature of the work it was designed to handle. Despite these shortcomings, the 1955 International R110 did find a niche market with those in need of an affordable, no-nonsense vehicle for light farm work or small business use. It offered utility at a low price, which certainly made it attractive in the short term. However, the lack of power, poor design, and uncomfortable ride made it a less than ideal choice for most buyers in the long run, and it didn't offer the type of all-around performance that would have allowed it to compete with the likes of Chevrolet, Ford, or Dodge in the pickup truck market. Ultimately, the R110's lack of refinement, coupled with its underpowered engine and awkward design, made it an unappealing option for anyone looking for a well-rounded, reliable, and comfortable pickup. Its status as a work truck was clear, but it failed to provide the durability, comfort, or versatility that would make it a true competitor. While it did find a place in farming and rural communities, its overall performance and design left much to be desired. The 1976 Chevrolet Luv light utility vehicle was an attempt by Chevrolet to enter the compact pickup market, but it ended up as one of the more underwhelming and flawed offerings of the time. Modeled after the Isuzu design, the LUV was intended to serve as a cheap and economical alternative to the larger American trucks that dominated the market. While its small size and fuel efficiency made it appealing to some, the vehicle quickly revealed itself to be a poor fit for most buyers, particularly those who needed a truck for serious work or for hauling heavy loads. One of the most glaring weaknesses of the LUV was its underpowered engine. Chevrolet equipped the Luv with a small four-cylinder engine that lacked the horsepower needed to tackle even basic tasks that other trucks could handle with ease. This engine was a significant drawback, as it made the LUV sluggish and unresponsive, particularly at higher speeds or when attempting to haul heavier loads. The engine struggled to deliver adequate power for even everyday driving, which made it an impractical choice for buyers who needed a reliable and capable truck. In comparison to other trucks of the time, which featured larger, more powerful engines, the LUV's underpowered setup quickly made it clear that it wasn't designed for heavy-duty tasks. The LUV's small size, while appealing in terms of maneuverability and urban driving, created significant problems for anyone who needed the full utility of a truck. Its bed, which was small and shallow, had limited capacity for hauling large or heavy items. For buyers who needed a truck for work, such as construction, farming, or any industry requiring a vehicle with significant cargo space, the LUV was simply too small to be practical. The bed's limited payload capacity meant that the truck couldn't handle basic tasks like carrying equipment or materials for a work project, further highlighting its limitations as a utility vehicle. The LUV's small size and limited utility were stark contrasts to the larger pickups of the time, which had expansive beds and could haul much heavier loads with ease. In addition to its size and lack of power, the LUV's build quality left much to be desired. While the truck was designed to be affordable, this came at the expense of durability and longevity. The materials used in the construction of the LUV were less robust than those used in American-made trucks, and over time this contributed to the vehicle's tendency to rust and wear out more quickly. While the vehicle may have been able to hold up for a few years in mild climates, it was not built to withstand the harsh conditions and long-term wear that American trucks were known for. As a result, many LUVs quickly became unreliable, with frequent mechanical issues that made them expensive and difficult to maintain. This lack of durability and the resulting mechanical problems created a major obstacle for owners who needed a truck that would last and continue to perform well over the years. The LUV's design, while not necessarily ugly, also failed to capture the rugged, masculine appeal that most American truck buyers were looking for at the time. The compact truck had a soft, car-like appearance that made it look out of place among the larger, more imposing American pickups that were built for strength and toughness. While the LUV may have appealed to a small group of urban drivers who were more interested in efficiency than rugged aesthetics, it lacked the visual presence of its competitors. Its exterior design was basic and unremarkable, and it didn't stand out in any way that would make it appealing to truck enthusiasts or those who wanted their vehicle to make a statement. Inside, the LUV was equally uninspiring. The cabin was cramped and basic, with very few amenities or comfort features. For a truck that was marketed as a work vehicle, this wasn't necessarily a problem for those who simply needed something that would get the job done. However, as more truck buyers began to expect a higher level of comfort and features in their vehicles, the LUV's bare-bones interior quickly became a drawback. There was very little in terms of interior design or creature comforts, and this made long drives or extended trips uncomfortable for drivers and passengers alike. From a safety perspective, the LUV was also lacking. The truck's small size and basic construction made it less safe in the event of a collision. Its lightweight design, while contributing to its fuel efficiency, also made it more vulnerable to damage and crashes. Furthermore, the lack of modern safety features made it a poor choice for buyers who were looking for a vehicle that offered more in terms of protection. As safety standards improved over the years, the LUV began to feel even more outdated and inadequate in this regard. Perhaps one of the most disappointing aspects of the 1976 LUV was the fact that despite its small size and low price,